Welcome to the great outdoors. Here we are. I've been asked to do some video work for Presleys here. My name's Neil Graves. I'm president of Illinois Trappers Association, and I'm here to give you some very basic stuff. The information I'm going to give you will not make you a pro in any way, shape, or form, but it'll be enough to get you started down the right road. I've been at this 30 years, but I'm still learning. Seems like I learn more from the animals I do not catch than the ones I do catch. But I've got some basic equipment here we're going to go over real quick. The most important one is the digest. Know your digest. Know the rules. If you don't have the rules, it could be a costly season and you won't have any fun when you're paying fines. One thing we'll go over today is a live trap. I've got a couple different ways to set these that are just a little more untraditional than most things, most ways that they're set. We'll kind of go over that here in a little bit. We've got body grips. This one is a 330, pretty good size. It's used for beaver and otter. It has to be touching water. I like them at least half submerged. This one is a 220. You can see the big difference in size. The 220 is the biggest one we can set on land, and it measures 7 inches by 7 inches. This one is a 160. We also use it for coon. Both of these are good coon traps. The difference between the two is the 160 is smaller and it's designed as a killer trap. The 220 is designed as a choking trap. It'll still do the job, but not as quick as a 160. Both good traps. And in saying that, they're both lethal on dogs. So if we know there's dogs in the area, we will not use these. This is a 110 for muskrat. It's also a body grip. This one is a 120. The difference between it and the 110 is this one has 2 springs. These are good mink traps. This one is a 1.5 coon trap. There's different ways we can set these. These would be good for coon, muskrat, and mink. If they're heavy enough, they'll drown the muskrat and mink real quick. If you set them heavy enough on dry land, the skunk won't set them off. You'll catch a lot of skunk in them dry land also. This one that's made for beaver. This is a number 5 trap. And the reason it's so big for beaver is a beaver's back foot will be as big as my hand. So this is designed to catch that back foot right on that pad. But this will catch a lot of beaver and a lot of otter. There's also a bunch of traps out there they call dog proofs. This one is probably the most common one out there. The idea is the coon reaches in here, and there's a lever in there they have to pull up on. When they pull up, they're caught. That's what makes that one a dog. I'm calling it dog resistant instead of dog proof. This little guy they call a soup can trap. They're calling it a dog proof trap, but in reality, it's not. The animal has to reach in this way. When they reach in, they push. If they push, it's not dog proof. You say, well, that's too big for a dog's paw. Well, yes it is, but a dog can still get his tongue in there. Anytime a dog can get his tongue in and push after the bait, it just becomes no longer a dog-proof trap. Now this little guy is kind of neat. They call this one the black hole. And what you do is you take your trap pan off your number 1.5, put this piece on. Once they have to pull up on it. Once they pull up on it, it'll close on them. So this is how you can make a foothold into a dog-resistant trap. I'm using what they call a drowning rod. Now with this drowning rod, you can see on this end here, there's a nut welded there so the trap won't come off. This end will go down into the bottom of the creek, the lake. It doesn't matter. I like a little bow in there. And you see the steeper it is, the quicker this works. This trap will be set up on dry land, and when the animal is caught, see how it slides down, but it doesn't come back. I can pull this all day long, it won't come back. So they just keep going. And then they keep going. Now before you know it, they're at the bottom, underwater. I love this system. When we're talking about body grips, stabilization is really, really important. I happen to have 4 different stabilizers here. This is called an H stand. The reason I like the 2 is when you drive this in the ground, this frame will not give. With a single bar across, a lot of times that frame will give and you'll end up with a broken weld. So that's why I like the double barred. If I'm in a rocky area, I use this particular stand right here. What I did is I cut the bottom legs off and welded it so now it sets flat on the ground. And the way these work, see I have my bright orange 220 here. It just sets right down on there. You can see I can pull that and there's very little movement in there. That locks that in place. It's around my neck. You see these metal things right here. And why would I have them on my neck? Man, that's a good question. I'm glad you asked. I put these around my neck because they're body grip safeties. And what I do is I take this, the minute I got this trap set, that locked into that jaw right there. That keeps that from going off. This saves your hand. Now, when I'm done and walking away, that's the last thing I take off and put it right back around my neck. Now I know right where it is. These are basically 2 different setters that are on the market. I know you've got them at Presleys, they're good setters. These bigger setters, heavier, if you have your option, go with the bigger pair. The little pair is for setting basically 220s and 160s. The bigger pair will set all the way up to 330s. So if I'm going to carry a pair and I'm running a mixed line, I want 1 pair. I don't want to carry 2 pairs. The way these work is we take a trap right here. This goes into that spring eye. That goes into that spring eye. Then you slide it shut. Then you have the safety spring right there. That spring is set. Now we're going to flip it over again. Once again, we're going to go to that eye, then that eye. We're going to squeeze it shut. Reach down, flip that spring over. Let the tension off just a little bit. Voila. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching this video. I want to thank Kelly Presley for inviting me to do this for him. And hopefully, you guys will come back and check this website out more often because look for more information to come. There's going to be a lot of beautiful stuff on here, guys. We love the trap. And remember, take a kid to the outdoors.